Welcome to a Drop Tent Media production.
The Porcupine with Adam Nutter.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to The Porcupine. I think it's episode number 8. You know what? Fuck you guys. I don't know what episode number they are. I don't record these in order. They're out of order. Suck it. We'll figure it out together. I think it's 8. So you're here. It's fine. So thanks for joining me. Before we start and intro my guest, Giant, I want to give a big thank you and shout out to everybody who sold out the Pop-In show in Chalfont, PA. A lot of libertarians came out in support, plus a lot of comedy fans came out in support. It was fucking awesome. In fact, it was so successful that next month in August, we're actually running 2 shows one night. So August 14th at the Pop-In, Chalfont, PA, we're running a 7:30 show and a 9:30 show. Myself and Neil Wood hosting, Rob and Greg Cardizone, Pat Haggerty, Brian Isley, Ellie Summerling. Get your tickets, droptent.com/events. They will sell out. We had to turn away 30 fucking people the day of, okay? Get your fucking tickets. I'm telling you, this show is fucking good. Droptent.com/events for your tickets. Also, July 25th, I'll be at Comics, up in Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. Get tickets for that. It's a Sunday show. Come on out. I think that's it for me. All right. So, guys, my guest today from the System Is Down podcast, great fucking libertarian voice, my man Dan Smots. Everybody, what's up, brother bear?
Hey, how's it going, Adam? Thanks for having me, man.
No, thanks for doing it, man. A lot of shit going on in the Libertarian Party right now. I know we have a lot of stuff to talk about, but we just had a new chair elected, so I want to go over that too and all that stuff. But let's talk about you a little bit first, Dan.
I didn't hear who got elected.
Oh,
so
okay, Whitney Bailu.
Okay,
Texas,
not familiar.
Yeah,
so.
Me either, dude.
Of course, isn't that how it always goes? It's just somebody nobody's ever fucking heard of out of nowhere.
Well, I wanted to get into how the only reason why I did hear of her recently was because she was the chair. She's the state chair of Texas, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But she also just in the last 6 months went like super anti-Mises. So
of course.
So yeah.
Par for the course.
Par for the course. Yeah, that's how I know her name. But outside of that, I wouldn't know who that is. But we'll get to her in a minute. But to you, like I ask all my guests this, what got you just into like not even so much the LP, but just liberty and the whole movement, just the whole
Sure.
thing.
Yeah. If you go back, I didn't even realize that I had gotten into liberty when I did, and it was because of Ron Paul. I didn't realize. I had no interest in politics at all. And my parents were like Midwestern conservative Christian, everything. So we were by nature Republicans, and I voted for whoever the hell the Republican was at the time. In my early years of voting, and then I heard about this Ron Paul guy, and he was a Republican, so he was a good guy. He was pro life and all that stuff that we believe in, and I remember having a Ron Paul sticker on my laptop, and I had no idea who this guy was. He kind of faded away after. I don't remember which election it was. I guess it would have been probably the 2012 election, and coming back around, I got interested into politics because of Donald Trump, ironically enough, and started actually paying attention and realized that I'm very much not a Republican. And I was interested in Ron Paul because he was anti-war, and I was always anti-war and felt like a kind of an outsider because of it. And some of my family members assumed that I would turn out to be a crazy liberal. And so Donald Trump comes out, and then I start paying a little bit of attention. I was like, well, that's not what I am, clearly. And then I jumped over, took a look at some of the Democratic debates. Like I watched the debates from both sides, all of them trying to figure out what the hell I could just land on, politically homeless, basically. And then I started digging into libertarianism, looking at the third party option, and heard people like Austin Peterson, Gary Johnson, John McAfee, when they were debating. Not any one of them in particular brought me into libertarianism. It was mostly just seeing the difference in the dynamics between these candidates versus the others that are like straight ripping each other apart. Seeing that difference in dynamics, and then listening to what they had to say, and then digging into libertarianism, getting into people like Jason Stapleton, Lines of Liberty, stuff like that, and Tom Woods. And tumbled down the rabbit hole until I was one of y'all. So here I am.
Yeah, it's it really is a common theme, especially on since I've been doing this podcast. But like every person you ask, like, what got you into the libertarian movement? Like Ron Paul, myself included, right? It's like
Right.
it's always that thing. It's like when you're politically lost and you're just adrift in the political ocean. You know, for me, it was back in like 07, 08 myself, 09.
Sure.
When I'm like, I know I'm not what the fuck this is, whatever you guys are talking about, like the,
Right.
the zeitgeist. I'm like, I know I'm not this. And then yeah, Ron Paul comes along, and you're like, oh, this is the only guy to be like, yo, fuck these wars. And you're like, what?
Right, exactly. Yeah, and it was just weird because I started digging into libertarianism, not knowing that Ron Paul had been a libertarian, like completely having forgotten about who this guy was or what his name was or anything. And then these libertarians start talking about Ron Paul shaped this movement and everything. And I'm like, oh shit, and like connecting the dots on the conspiracy board, and like he had a hand in my conversion all along, and I didn't even realize it. Wow, didn't even know he was a libertarian.
See, now I guess my question to you is: did you see that first Ron Paul, like the Ron Paul revolution that everybody says, the first time around?
Mhm.
Were you like fully involved in that wave? So like, in other words, for me, like I was aware of Ron Paul back in 08, and he's the one who did get me into it. But like, I had so much of my personal life going on in 08 and 09 that like I wasn't like how Heist talks about it and like Smith talks about. They're like, yeah, it was like fucking amazing. I'm like, I
I
wasn't
missed
there
it.
for that because
Yep.
I was so involved in my personal shit. I just
Yep.
knew it was him, and I knew he was the one who transformed me, but I didn't catch that wave. So yeah,
Yeah.
I wonder if what's going on now, because everybody's saying what's going on now with the Mises Caucus and stuff is like the Ron Paul 2.0 movement.
Yeah.
Because I do feel something now. I can't equate it to anything else because I never
Yeah.
had another experience to it. But maybe you could agree or disagree with me on this, but maybe you also feel like you actually feel like a movement going on this time. Like you feel like it's not just bullshit talk. You know what I'm saying? If that makes
Yeah.
sense to you, like, what do you think? Is that just
No, I agree 100%. And I too missed the entire both waves of the Ron Paul movement when they were a thing. Apparently, they hit me enough for me to end up with a bumper sticker. I to this day have no idea where I got it from or what the hell. But yeah, from like I've in working on the video work and all the stuff that I've done with the campaigns and stuff, I've done some digging into like the Ron Paul movement and the revolution stuff, and it's fascinating, like watching the documentaries and digging up old clips and some of the stuff he said. It's like it excites me now, and then hearing all these people talk about the massive impact that it had at the time and the complete shifting of the landscape after that. I do think that there's a chance for something else, and the thing that gives me the most promise isn't necessarily just like Dave Smith. Like a lot of people think that, oh, this is just another, oh, you're gonna, idolize some politician and it's gonna be a comedian, so it's gonna work. I love Dave Smith. I think he's great. But the thing that I think is going to get us at least close to reviving some of that and starting something new is all of the people, the Scott Hortons, the Tom Woodses, the Eric Julys, these people coming into the party to, to reclaim what Ron started. And I have massive excitement for that, and I'm happy to not miss out on this one. Not only I told myself if I see something spark, I'm not only not going to miss out, but I'm going to be as big of a part in that as I possibly can. Because if this is anything, even a fraction of what Ron Paul did, it's like if the Beatles came back from the dead and went on tour. Are you going to miss it? Are you going to miss that show? Even if it's a short-lived show, are you going to miss that, or are you going to jump on and ride the wave?
No, dude, I agree. In fact, I was talking to Dave Casey about that, and we were both like, it's kind of why we started the podcast individually, or myself included. It's like, it wasn't enough just to kind of go on other podcasts and talk about it, or just like kind of talk about it with your friends. I'm like, no, like if I care about it, you got to like actually do something for it.
Yeah.
And like you nailed it on the head, dude. Get in on that wave now. Like actually change people's minds when you can, because in
Right.
4 years, after the cycle's over or whenever when's the next election? 2024, right?
Yeah.
So another 3 years from now, when that shit's over, no one's gonna give a fuck anymore, and for another
Yep.
4 years. So
Yep. Especially if it's just focused on one guy instead of the message and everything that this whole movement stands for. Again, it's like everybody wonders what happened to the Ron Paul movement. Well, he kind of did like fizzle it out because I think him jumping, and I'm totally talking on my ass because I wasn't there. I can't really speak to it, but him jumping over to the Republican Party, I'm sure he lost a lot of his libertarian fellows there, and then him kind of shifting back toward more libertarian. He probably lost some Republican people, and people just fizzle out because he's not running for anything. But I think it's very crucial that we don't make this Dave's going to run and Dave's going to win. And if Dave doesn't win, then we're just going to go back to, voting for Bill Weld next time or something like that.
Well, I see there's obviously that big talking point inside the LP right now where it's like, what's more important, messaging or running campaigns?
Yeah.
It's like, well, messaging, my opinion, because messaging gets you the campaign.
Right.
So,
man, I just rewatched the Dave Smith versus Nick Sarwark debate yesterday.
Which one?
Yesterday.
The one on his podcast or the one at the
both?
Okay,
I'll be honest, both. I will say I don't have much time to watch anything, but that is some of my favorite entertainment that I have ever seen, and I've watched it multiple times. It tickles me every time. But it's. Continue with what you were saying.
We could go on that. I mean, dude, I'm convinced that dude's a fucking Fed. There's no way he's not. There's just no. I mean, listen, I'm sure there's a way.
I had him on my show and I asked him. He said no. So
that's what a Fed would say.
Must not be.
Exactly. That's what a Fed would say. It's just everything he says is. I mean, like Dave said, it's like such a lawyery answer. It's just a smarmy answer. Nothing is honest. I saw him at the PA State Convention, and like me and him had our runnings on Twitter. And it's he just like that weasel. I want to be like, dude, I want to grab you by your fucking collar and just be like, be honest. I want to grab him and be like, just say what you fucking mean. You fucking
right. I'm a conspiracy guy, very much so, and I am not ashamed of that. But at the same time, there's a part of me that's like, I don't know if I necessarily buy into him being a Fed. I could see him being a politician, lawyer, car salesman, because that's definitely what he is, and that's enough for me to explain why he acts the way he does sometimes. But if somebody came to me and said Nick Sarwark is a Fed, I'd be like, well, sure, okay, yeah.
yeah. It's not like it's not like it's like what? Right. No way. It's like, no, we all knew. Right. We all kind of figured. I mean, even in PA recently, we had a guy who just pretty much called a bunch of people out for being Feds and plants.
Yeah.
But when you look at who he's calling them out, you're like, well, I mean, they kind of act like that. Like when you have guys who go, I'm libertarian, but all they do is like disrupt,
right?
Or like will stick up for the Democratic or Republican Party, and you're like, well, are you? Well, like, what are you?
Right. Why are you here? You have another party that aligns better with your views. Not only do you have one, they're way more successful than we are. So why don't you just go join them? It's fine.
So that's a great point. So a little more inside baseball for like a little more, just local shit. Very honestly, we have a lot of trolls who obviously hate the MC and hate what we do and talk about, and like we have a lot of troll accounts who follow us. And I know them, and I don't mind them at all. I think it's fun, right? It's fun for me. I'm a comic, so like I could get fired. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. Right. Is like, the Cathedral Caucus just posted.
I saw that.
Yeah,
the doxing.
They doxed all of the major contributors to the Mises Caucus.
Yeah,
and then
I'm not an official member of the Mises Caucus, but you want to radicalize a motherfucker? Right. Go dox their highest paying like supporters. Like that's going to make me like that. I saw that. I was like, I can swing $4,000 to be at the top of that list because fuck you, like you pieces of shit.
That's the thing is even if you're just Mises friendly, like I know you are, like you're not like with us, but like you're friends with a lot of us. It easily, like you just said, because it's like, oh, you're playing dirty, you're not being honest, it's all bad faith, and we know what you're about. You're not here for unity, you're not here to promote liberty, you're here to just damage and cause chaos. So fuck you. And then I'll go, oh yeah, I'll throw money at that cause just to spite you. And that's what they're not getting. So like,
what have you done? What have you done for liberty? Oh, you held an office as a libertarian. Okay, then what? Because it doesn't matter if you're in office if nothing comes out of it. What have you actually done?
And exactly everything I'm saying right now, I know they're gonna screenshot and record and put it in their circles, and it's fine.
right,
Do it. I
Fine.
don't give
Here
a
you
shit.
go. I'm wearing my dogs are literally Hitler shirt
Yeah,
just for you. Fuck
I
you.
I don't give a shit. But like, they are proud. They're like, hey man, we won the audit elector or whatever the fuck from Buckingham Township. It's like,
Mhm.
how is that helping promote liberty?
Right.
Tell me right now. Is there a way that they could stop like unnecessary warrants? Is there a way they could stop like drug crime? Oh no.
They're gonna end the wars overseas, man.
Yeah, it's like you're just, and then they go, "Oh, Pennsylvania has the most elected libertarians, but 400 of those are fucking uncontested spots."
Right.
So
Right.
like, what are we talking about? It's nonsense, pat on the back, virtue signaling bullshit.
Yeah.
You're
Absolutely.
not doing anything, and these are the same fucks who'll be like, "Oh, we're gonna go out and do community cleanups," and like, which is great, and like we're actually taking human action, like taking shots at the Mises Caucus. It's
Right.
like, well, we're actually promoting liberty. Like what you're doing is great too. Like we could all be doing great things, but why
Right.
are you taking shots? Like you could do that, and we could do this.
And they demean the things like they demean all the podcasters. Like
Yeah.
every podcaster in the libertarian sphere, almost it seems like, is completely against what the LP stands for lately. And it's funny because they'll like take shots at what we're doing, which is, oh, you're just a podcaster, you're just a YouTuber, you're just this or that. It's like, yeah, converting people, talking to people, having the conversation. We are making the effort to actually converse with people that we disagree with on things, or like going to Democrats and Republicans and converting them to libertarianism, just speaking to them. What are you doing? You organizing books? What are you doing? I don't get.
No, dude, that's you know what it is. This is what it is, man. It's projection. So they call us racist, us misogynist,
Yeah.
us not promoting liberty, us the ones who are trying to halt the gears, and it's like, yeah, but that's actually what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
You guys are actually doing that all day. You're
Yeah.
making troll accounts after troll account to troll. I'm sure you've seen the Gadget account troll account. Have you seen that?
I don't know.
So
I
that's-
barely pay attention.
I'll tell you why that's kind of ridiculous. So Gadget the cat troll account, that's Michael Heiss's cat.
Okay. Yeah. I heard about that.
Yeah. And they're trolling, and they follow me. They follow everybody. They probably follow you too.
Probably.
Yeah. And it's like, and you're gonna call us losers?
Right. Because we hate the left more than we love liberty. You're the one spending your time making accounts for animals so you can spy on your enemies, which is us in the
Which is-
Libertarian Party. So
right.
explain.
And every time we extend olive branches, it's just thrown in our faces.
Right.
And going back to what you said before about how, or even we were talking about possible plans or people even just maybe they shouldn't be in this party. We had a guy in Bucks County / Montgomery County in PA who was like running for some sort of fucking Congress, whatever the fuck position, but
Sure.
he was like a fucking socialist. Like he promoted, like he was like for Bernie Sanders, like for AOC, like and
Who was it?
Henry Connolly.
Nah, never heard of him.
Yeah. But he finally left and went to the Green Party, and we're like, yeah, that's exactly where you should have been the whole time.
Again, what are the libertarian positions that this person takes if they're voting for AOC and Bernie Sanders? I genuinely want to know, because again, you have a Democratic Party that you can join. It's perfectly fine. What is it about that? Like, do you just need to feel special, like you're in something that's an underdog? Do you have to have that that fight against you, that fight against the man, and that it's a little too elitist to join a big party? It's like, okay, then don't join any party. Just be yourself and go screech into the void. I don't care.
Yeah, dude, you nailed it. Screeching to the void. That's what it is. This is what I've noticed with a lot of this. In the LP, a lot of these people who are hating the MC or just hating what's happening in the LP right now and in the switch and turnover, it was a bunch of people who are kind of just low status in life, don't really have anything going on for them, but they found a home here, and they found a home with other rejects and losers, because that's what they fucking are. Not all of
That's
them.
what we are. I
but
mean,
that's
we
what
all are.
We all know exactly.
We're libertarians,
Yeah,
man.
libertarian, that's true. Take it back. No, but even bigger rejects and losers than we are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess no, but like they found their own like little, I want to say cult, but their own little following, and they care more about that social club than
Yeah.
they do about actually promoting the cause. So when that social club gets threatened, They just want to push back instead of actually open up.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening right now. So you're seeing all these littler groups are being like, oh, we're getting our ship blown up. But it's like, we're not trying to blow it up. We're just trying to help. Like, we want you to work with us. You're the ones who are actively stopping us from joining committees, actively stopping us from fucking winning positions of officers and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know what you want us to do.
Yeah, I'm curious, like, when they jump from the Libertarian Party to the Green Party, I'm just wondering, like, how that pans out for them. Like, are they going to be welcomed in because they're an even smaller party than we are, and even more? No offense to any of them, because I don't know any Green Party members, which is kind of my point. But they're even more rejects and losers than we are by the status of, you know, the man and the system. But are these people going to instantly gain power, or I mean, they're going to have to start from square one and have to work their way back up to that high level status of I don't know, local treasurer of Jackson County of the Green Party or something. Like, I'm just want to know. I want to watch, but I don't. It's beautiful.
I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of people lose their fucking minds. We have some people, like, you know, that are just legitimately, like, throwing temper tantrums at, like, public meetings.
Yeah.
Like, it's embarrassing. Like, you're an adult.
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're an adult, act like it. And then if you want to talk shit, follow through. Don't just go on a troll account and hide behind a cat. You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting because I don't know. And I'm actually being probably meaner on this because you're bringing it out of me, which I'm perfectly fine with. But on my show, I try to be a little bit more open-minded and, you know, discussing with other people. I don't feel like I'm being not or closed-minded here at all. It's just honest. But you meet all these people in real life at like Pork Fest or Freedom Fest or something like that, and it's completely 100% different. And for me, that was never the case. Like, I was never mean on social media until they brought it out of me. I'll still like be civil in person, but the rest of these people that are out there jumping immediately to KKK, Nazi, homophobe, transphobe, this, that, like, you meet them in person, they're like, oh, hey. Like, I walked past Sarwark at Pork Fest. He just kind of gives me a head nod and keeps walking. It's like, I thought there was, why aren't you getting in fights here?
Right.
How come you're not having conversations with anyone here?
Right.
Is it because you're so right that you don't need to? Or is it because you know that you're full of shit and they're smarter people than you are?
I think that's it. Obviously, I mean, again, I saw Sarwark and I was like, do I approach him? Like, I would never, I really wouldn't. I would never approach him like, fuck you, dude. Unless he gave me that attitude, then 100% would. But I would approach him and be like, yo, man, you say some inflammatory shit on Twitter, especially to me, with zero basis before. What's up?
Right.
Yeah, I'll give you a chance to defend yourself. Like a man, I'm looking you in your eyes, talk to me. But they won't. That's the thing. But whatever. It is what it is.
Which he's never done much of anything. He's never said much of anything to me on Twitter or Facebook or anything like that. So I shouldn't jump to that. Pretending like he has. I've seen the things though, and I know the way that he is, and he I think one of the, I don't know, the only thing he's really said about me being in the Mises Caucus was when I put out the video for the takeover. He just commented, "Why?" You can hear it in Nick Sarwark's voice too.
That's fucking funny.
Yep.
Actually, that's a good leading point to what else I want to talk to you about. You worked on the Jorgensen campaign.
I did. Yeah.
If you just want to just say a little bit about like your role and like why even you chose like I'll you know, why you went with her and not anybody else, or, you know, Hornberg or any, you know.
Well, I didn't go with her from the start. Like, I didn't come into it being with her.
Right.
I actually worked on Vermin's campaign first. So I was working with Vermin and Spike, which I disagree with Vermin on some things, but I think he's a great guy, and he doesn't get into these spats nearly as much as the rest of them do. I worked with them, and then I got to know Spike really well, and he's amazing, and I love Spike. And he brought me into, well, he like put in a good word for me with the Jorgensen campaign, and everybody else kind of put in a good word for me at the Jorgensen campaign too. The Mises Caucus certainly helped because I got hired unofficially. They were going to bring me down to Orlando to film, and then me and Spike put out a video that, like, he and I had a history at that point of, you make something and it's awesome, so just throw it out and don't like run it through the chain of commands or anything like that. And which, with him being the VP nominee at that point, we were just like, okay, we'll just put it out. And he put it out without even watching it himself. He like aired it live on his show, because I sent him the link while he was doing a show live, and he's like, I trust Dan. Hopefully he doesn't screw me over here. And he played it live, and then it just comes out and blows up. It got like I think 250,000 views in like less than 24 hours or something like that, and really got around there quickly. They didn't like it, and they didn't really tell me why, but I suddenly was informed that I no longer was going to be going to Orlando. So essentially they fired me. We didn't have a contract or anything, so it wasn't officially a firing, but it was a firing. And so then I made a video. Somebody sent me some footage of Joe, and they were like, hey, see if you can do something with this. And so I put together a video that was just what I wanted, doing the best that I could, put it together in 24 hours, released it without asking them. And then a couple days later, they were like, you still want to go to Orlando? Like they instantly started trying to make up. And I don't know, like, I get it. You gotta run things through the proper chains of command. But at the same time, you could have had a conversation with me or something like that. So we don't have to get too deep into that stuff, but yeah, I had said before they brought me back, I said, hey, I'm going to Orlando, whether they bring me or not. I'm going to go film, because I had a bunch of people backing me, and even some of the Mises Caucus guys pitched in some money to take me down to Orlando, which I raised enough to go there, but then Joe's team hires me back, takes me down to Orlando. So all in all, we're working on the team, jumping past the drama, and I'm sure there's plenty more that we can talk about in the way of drama, but I'm not going to bash the Jorgensen campaign for how they treated me, because once I was back in their good graces, they kind of let me do my thing, and they let me have some fun with it. They gave me some critiques here and there on some of the videos, but as far as the messaging and like the scripts and stuff, I came up with all of it, and they were kind of just like, cool, make us a video on war. Here's your video on war. Okay, here's your money. Let's go. Okay, well, and really that's all that matters to me. Like, I didn't care if it was Joe Jorgensen or if it was Jacob Hornberger or who it was. At that point, it was already Joe, obviously, but right. I wasn't, I'm not going to not do my best just because it's not my favorite candidate. I'm going to do the best that I can and incorporate the messaging that I think is the boldest and is going to be the most impactful. And if it has to have Joe's name on there, great. I have no problem with that. She wasn't a bad candidate. She wasn't an exciting candidate, but my job was to make her an exciting candidate, and I did the best I could with that.
Yeah, obviously, I think it's a mistake of them even letting you go, or you want to call it the first time, because this is, I mean, I'm a firm believer, because I'm an entertainment guy, or I'm a comic, and like, you know, I'm around comics all the time. I think Jesse's a comic, my producer's a comic. I think most comics will tell you that, like, views, no matter where they're coming from, if it's a lot and it's quick, that's fucking good, no matter what. So the fact that more people still don't, especially in today's day and age, don't understand that, because I bet you they saw that, they heard whatever they didn't like, and they're like, oh, and they just went to, oh, we didn't like this, ignoring we just got 250,000 fucking views that we never would have gotten.
And they pulled it off their pages. Like, they put it up on their page and then removed it after the 250,000 views.
Yeah,
it's like, you could at least, you could have, like, I guess there's not really that much damage control that you could do if you strongly disagreed with what it was saying, but then you shouldn't have put it up to begin with. I don't know. It was just really confusing, especially with, like, that certainly wasn't the thing that they needed damage control on the most when it came to posting on social media. So whatever.
I mean, I know what you're referring to, but
there's a few.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of the one biggest one, but no, they because I think they're still scared. The main establishment LP party is scared of breaking with a hard message.
Yes,
that's why they're pushing so hard against Dave and all those guys, because they're like, oh, we got to play nice, because they care more about being accepted in DC. Yeah, than they do about actually, again, promoting fucking liberty.
Right. And what's going to happen when, like, if they stick around the Libertarian Party, and let's say they get Joe Jorgensen Part 2 next time around, they get the candidate that they want, and they've spent the last 4 years calling their entire party and all the heavy hitters in their party racists and Nazis. Now people start looking into the Libertarian Party, and they're like, well, why would I vote for Joe Jorgensen? She's in a party full of racists and Nazis. If you honestly think that this is a party full of racists and Nazis, I don't know how many times you want me to say that before you get.
Oh, I don't give a shit.
But, okay.
I say all the time.
Why are you in this party if you think that's the case? Like, even if I agreed 100% with somebody, like, if I was joining a club with somebody and they had all the same views and beliefs as me, except for one, they believe that certain minorities are inferior, I'd be like, well, I don't want to be in this. I want to go somewhere else where they don't think minorities are inferior, because that's a retarded position to have.
Yeah.
And I don't support you. So I don't know.
Yeah, it really is counterintuitive. That's that's actually a great point. So even the people in our own party who don't like us, they're still hurting themselves by saying the things they're saying. That's a fucking great point, right? Because outsiders are like, what is happening?
Yeah.
In the LP right now.
That's assuming that anybody cares enough to actually dig into this stuff. They act like, and we kind of act like too, that all this matters way more than it does. I mean, it matters for the sake of the party, but you know, I don't know. It's nobody's paying attention to what some guy who's a treasurer in a county says on Twitter about Dave Smith. So
no, but what is interesting, my voice is cracking so much. I'm sorry, I lost my voice from doing comedy Saturday. So I'm going through puberty. I'm like,
I just assumed you were really excited to see me.
No, I was fucking like screaming into the microphone Saturday, and then I had to do like a podcast yesterday. My voice is fucking shot.
Sure.
But that does bring into a whole thing. If you notice now, the Biden administration is talking a lot about cracking down on anti-government talk.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's fucking the First Amendment. I'm allowed to say it all I want, but it's more and more. You know, we were called crazy conspiracy theorists 4 years ago for saying, hey man, the government, Trump, whoever the fuck it is, at the time it was Trump, but like, they don't really give a shit, and they're gonna crack down on if they don't, us talking shit. And it's like, nah, you guys are crazy. And then I definitely didn't think it was going to be under Trump, because, like, I don't think that's his hill to die on, but other hills to die. But Biden's hill to die on is a lot of this, big government, 'cause that's what the left is, right? Big government, trust the government, government's great, more government programs. If you say shit about us, we'll fucking kill you. It's like that. And now they're actually saying, now I don't know if you just saw, but they said that the Biden administration wants to work closely with tech to monitor personal text conversations,
right?
text messaging conversations, to look for misinformation. What the fuck are we doing here in this country?
Oh, if I didn't laugh, I would cry. And maybe it's the kratom that is the only reason I'm not weeping in a corner right now.
Where's all the libertarians that should be yelling about this besides us?
Yeah, what is the point of the Libertarian Party if not to speak against that? Is it getting a libertarian in the White House? Honestly, but is that your point? Because that's not going to happen.
This is beyond the libertarian issue. Yeah. I don't think Jesse's not a libertarian. Jess, do you want the government and Verizon reading your private text messages for real? Just for honestly. Whoa. His mic's not working. Is it plugged in?
I can assume his answer.
No, here it is. I don't NSA, dude. It's been happening for a while.
Exactly. But you hate it, right?
But it's not Biden. It's been happening since Bush.
No, I'm saying
like that's my point. You think
it's the system.
Stop.
It's like it's been a while.
No. And of course
it's been in motion.
But the difference was
ever since those towers fell.
It's always
been like, let me check your
long
pager,
before,
right? So it's.
No, this is
that's my point.
It's the system, and Biden is a giant puppet in that system. So I think he's doing a great job at continuing the trauma-based mind control that we're currently in the making of.
So
well, of course he is. Yeah, but this is
the game.
This is the tweet. Biden ally groups, including the DNC, plan to engage fact checkers and work with SMS carriers to dispel misinformation about vaccines that is sent over social media and text messages. That's via Politico.
So you can say it's not just Biden, but that's just Biden.
That's my point. Specifically, of course of course the fucking NSA is fucking pieces of shit. That's been going on way before Bush.
Right.
But it's always a step closer. So that's just Biden's.
But now they're just publicly.
He's the latest.
But my point is now it's just so blatantly. Now they're just blatantly saying it though. Before it was like the Wizard of Oz, the guy behind the curtain shit. Now they're like, hey, we're just gonna do it. We're just gonna do it.
Yeah. Well, it's
That's
because
what I'm saying.
it's because
It's
they
getting
overplayed
worse.
their hand in COVID, and now suddenly everybody's like, "What the fuck is going on here?" And they're like, "Oh, that's real dangerous talk you got there. Just saying what the fuck through text. We got to make sure you're not, telling somebody wrong medical information through your text or something." Like,
Yeah,
it's because they overplayed their hand. Now they're in panic mode, trying to get ahead of this thing and make sure they can crack down on the soon coming wave of government mistrust
yeah.
or
I mean,
distrust.
we-
I don't know.
I think they both work. I think
Sure.
they both work. That's why I always love we as a country we fucking hate whistleblowers. Like we say we love them, but we fucking
Right.
punish them all the time.
Yep.
I mean Snowden on down. Name one.
On down to Karen Ann Harlos and Josh Smith.
You know what I'm saying? No,
Yep.
we like them. I don't even mean like we as libertarians. I mean like normal people appreciate, I think, whistleblowers, right?
Yeah.
But the establishment, and I mean all establishment, R, D, L, doesn't
Yeah.
fucking matter, hates whistleblowers.
Absolutely.
And they will fucking crucify you no matter what they say. I mean, I'll just, the Snowden, Obama ran, one of his policies was, I'm going to protect whistleblowers. And
Right.
Snowden was like, NSA, and he's like, get him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, of course you can't trust anybody.
It's like, what more evidence do you need that there is corruption? Like the whistleblower doesn't even have to say anything. If somebody came out and said, "I have information about this," and then suddenly they're they killed themselves or what have you, that should be enough for people to start scratching their heads and going, how come everybody who has something to say about these people disappears or has to flee the country or whatever? Even in the LNC thing, it's like. It was brought up, it was whistleblown on, and then it's like, we didn't do it. Also, we're gonna leave now. Bye. Like we're leaving the party, and it's because of bigotry and racism. Obviously, it's your fault. It's like that is what's the word?
Lying, I believe. The word.
That's one way to put it. Gaslighting too.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
we're on our way out and we're leaving now out of
Right.
anger. It's not because we're terrified with our tail between our legs because we're shitholes. It's because you guys are actually the bad ones because of something that we made up entirely.
Well, they got caught committing an actual potential legal crime.
Right.
Like, that's not even debatable. Like, they stole actual data. Like, that's not.
Yeah, and then in all the emails and everything, they're just like, I did not get into this party to argue over fucking Twitter accounts. It's like, it's not just Twitter accounts, bro. It's the representation of an official affiliate party to the Libertarian National Party. Like, this is a state affiliation.
You're
I don't know.
taking people's private information that they gave to a specific. That's like if I give my fucking info to Chase Bank, and then Wells Fargo's like, "Yo, we
Yeah.
got your info from Chase Bank," and I'm like, "What do you mean you got my info from Chase Bank, bro?"
Don't worry about it. It's just a couple numbers, you
Right.
know?
We just got your.
I did
social.
not
Is
join
it-
Chase Bank to be arguing about a couple numbers here and there.
You're right. It's just a few grand, bro. Don't worry about it. What's a few grand here and there? And by the
Yeah.
way, is your social 02? You know, it's like whoa. It's like, what are you talking about? That's essentially what they were doing.
Right.
And then they turn around. They're like, "You guys, shame on you
Right.
for making us have to argue over Twitter." It's like,
Also, we're going to dox you all now because we're really upstanding gentlemen.
as we're stealing affiliate data, their social security numbers,
Yeah.
fucking and lying, doxing people, ruining people's lives,
Yep.
people fired from their jobs.
Trying to take Karen Ann Harlos down on the way out. I'm surprised they didn't hit more at Josh so far, but there's still time.
I mean, well, what could they say about him? They already have what he said about him.
That's true. He's calloused over at this point. It's like, you got nothing. You're going to have to come up with an actual case against that man if you want to take him down. He's the Donald Trump of the Libertarian Party.
Yeah, that it really is.
Sorry, Josh.
There's I'm sure it's like, what the fuck, guys? There's there
Top Lobster, make that shirt.
make that shirt, Tom Watson, make that shirt. It made me and Dan doing this behind it, like endorsing
right.
it. Look at the thumbs up.
Yep.
There is the funny irony. Again, a lot of these people have zero self-awareness. Someone, I don't want to bash him publicly anymore. He's bashing off. He's already a national meme, and you know who I'm probably talking about. I'll say it off air, but
Give me a hint, because I get these people mixed
his
up.
initials, I can't. He PA guy. He went very public on a lot of big name libertarian Twitter accounts back during the PA.
Drop it in the chat. on Zoom.
Fuck. Yeah, I'll do
Dang
it. Twitter DMs. Twitter DMs.
There you go.
Twitter
Cool.
DMs. Twitter DMs. Twitter DMs. But he posted on Josh's thing like when he lost for chair.
Yeah,
He
I know
goes-
the name, but I'm not familiar with the guy. No.
Okay, he goes 0 for 3. I'm like, dude, you're 0 for 2 yourself and runs. What are you talking? And you just got ousted yourself from a position because you were. Not only did he get ousted from a position, this guy that I'm talking about, he was also a secretary of the county and had to get removed from secretary because he was lying about the secretary stuff he was doing. Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? These are the people who fucking call us pieces of shit.
Yeah, and to an onlooker, to an outsider who only hears the anger from both sides, like us talking about the Mises Caucus, righteously, and I feel righteously indignant about this stuff going on. I don't feel like there was shit posting and stuff like that, but there was never attacking on families, to my knowledge. I could be wrong, I don't know, but to an onlooker, it's like, which side do you want? Do you want the side that's if you're looking at two sides that are, let's say they're doing the same shit posting. They're not both doing that. One side doxing, the other side making fun of trans people or whatever they claim that they're doing, or whatever the other side claims they're doing. One side, the Prague side, or whatever you want to call them, the Fakertarian side, or whatever label, they're calling out people's children on Twitter. Now, let's say they were both doing all the exact same things, except one of them was pushing for radical libertarian messaging, and the other side was pushing for we gotta get people into office. We gotta, not all drugs, most drugs. So, I mean, weed's really good, but I pump the brakes on anything further. Gary Johnson types. Like, which side of those do you want? And that's assuming that they're all doing the same shit, and as we know, they're not.
Yeah, 100%, dude. You nailed it. I do want to get into your podcast a little bit and tell people about your podcast, the System Is Down podcast, and like what do you try to talk about, cover on your show. I mean, I watch it, but for people who don't watch it, obviously would love for them to watch you. Just give a little, what's going on with that.
My show is, we talk about controversial stuff. Conspiracies, politics, and religion is what I throw it under. That was the initial plan, was to go back and forth on talking about these three different areas and breaking down like a different conspiracy theory or a different political opinion or something like that, and then jumping into religion. Just talking about the controversial stuff that are taboo, or at least they were back then when I started it. Things that you're not allowed to talk about, things that your family prays don't bring up around the Thanksgiving dinner table, and just doing so in a civil and open-minded fashion, knowing what you believe and why you believe it, but going into a conversation willing to have enough of an open mind that if you're given a certain amount of new information, you will change your mind. That is what I push for, because I think that's severely lacking in our society. And but I've had some amazing guests on over the years. It kind of turned into an interview show for a long time, where I had on like Tom McDonald, Juanita Broderick, David Thibodeau, and John McAfee, people like that. Controversial figures. And then I kind of got more into covering current events and stuff like that. Now it's kind of just whatever happens, and it's kind of turned into more of a libertarian show than it was, just because all this stuff is happening in my life. I'm in all these bubbles where I'm working with libertarians. Got all the inside baseball on the libertarian shit. And so it focuses a lot on that. I'm trying to diversify a little bit, because I know some people get sick of that, but when there's so much going on, it's hard not to. But at the same time, conspiracies, politics, and religion, in my mind, are all the exact same thing at this point. Like, they all play into one another, so it doesn't really matter. If we're talking about libertarianism, we're also talking about, COVID conspiracy stuff, because that is what we're all experiencing as libertarians and as not libertarians, and how you deal with that. Maybe your religion plays into that. Maybe everything isn't the non-aggression principle, and we need to think about other things, like just exploring these different areas and avenues, and having on great guests and talking to people about uncomfortable shit. That's what I'm all about.
You mentioned John McAfee, which
Yeah.
actually we had him on our comedy podcast a year or so ago, like during COVID actually, and he was awesome. And
Did you get a good connection? Because getting that man on a good internet service is not easy.
It wasn't great. It wasn't
When he's
great.
fleeing the country, or fleeing feds in all different countries.
Wasn't great, but he was a good time. I'll tell you that one.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I don't think he killed himself. I'll tell you that much right now. I'll tell you that much right now.
I don't either.
And it's just again, this just keeps happening over and over again, and it's just we're never gonna get answers. I feel in our lifetime, and maybe ever. I mean, and to play on the whole conspiracy thing and get answers in our lifetime, everyone involved in JFK is dead, and we still don't fucking really know what the fuck happened. We all have our ideas. Oh, the mob, the CIA, maybe it was Oswald and somebody else, whatever. Yeah, but still don't know. So
yeah, and they don't have to tell us, and they're not going to. Like we act like, oh, if the right person gets into office, this information is going to come out. Like, what more evidence do you need that this whole thing is rigged? That we've had president after president from all different walks of life, supposedly, even though they're all the same freaking thing. But they all get in there. Even Donald Trump goes in, and there's no information. He didn't find out anything. All the secrets. So it leads me to believe, and this is my tinfoil hat going on, it leads me to believe that whole thing is controlled, and none of it actually matters other than what they're doing to rule your life. And when you've got Donald Trump going in saying some very libertarian things, like talking about he's going to pardon people and he's going to end the wars and he's going to do this and that, it's like, great, now do it. And nothing happened. None of those things happened. It makes me think somebody else is pulling the strings behind the scene. I'm not saying Illuminati or shadow government or whatever, but handlers at the very least. Joe Biden, we've seen his handlers on full display, just ending calls when they feel like it, when they don't want him to answer questions. So all of these people doing the same things and running the same Ponzi schemes, you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to think this is not at all what they're saying it is at the very least.
No, totally. And two things we'll get out here on these two things to wrap up the whole conspiracy thing. But when Trump, don't forget, Trump was like, I'm dropping all the Kennedy shit, and then he dropped one paragraph, and then someone must have been like, hey man, do you want to end up like Kennedy? Shut the fuck up. He was like, yeah. Hey, I forgot who's Kennedy? He was just like, I don't even know who JFK is, bro. He just forgot about it.
Snowden, who's that? Right. I've never heard of him. No.
Assange, who?
Good guy. I heard he made very good phone calls. Talked to him this morning, but not going to pardon him.
A fun right wing. If you talk to anybody who's a conservative or who's a Trump person, and I would always bring up he could have ended the wars, and then went, well, he tried. I went, actually, he's the only person who unilaterally could have ended the wars.
Right.
He himself actually could have ended the wars, so stop lying.
If he tried at all, he could have he would have succeeded, and we wouldn't have these wars. So it's pretty clear evidence that he didn't try all that hard.
I'm like,
nobody's supposed to be able to to overturn that.
I was like, he's actually in charge of all the guys with the guns to make them come home. He's actually the commander-in-chief of those guys. But the second thing, again, to go about who's pulling the strings behind the scenes, is one of my favorite Clinton interviews ever was, I forgot who the head of the CIA was when Clinton was in office. Was it fucking Rumsfeld or Bush? Who the fuck was it? I forget who it was.
I don't recall.
All right, but apparently Clinton, when he first got in, Clinton gets elected, he's having his meetings with all the guys, and he meets with the CIA, the head of the CIA. I forgot who it was at the time. Sorry.
Sure.
But he's like, hey, I think there's aliens. Take me to Area 51. And he goes, no. He's like, what do you mean no? I'm the fucking president. He's like, yeah. You don't get to go there. You don't have the clearance.
Is this an actual interview that happened?
It was an interview or a quote or something like that. This is years ago. I remember seeing this.
Is there video or just written down?
I don't remember. I saw it saw it of someone talking about the interview or I saw that just quote.
Yeah.
And I'm also paraphrasing because he didn't say fucking, obviously.
Right.
But essentially, this was the conversation. He's like, hey, I want to check out Area 51. No, you don't have clearance for that. Sorry. You're just the president. He's like, I'm the president. He's like, yeah, I know. You don't get to go. That was pretty much the conversation.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Twitter banned our president. So, he doesn't, I don't feel like the president has all that much power if he can't figure out a way to stay on Twitter. Not that he should. There's a debate there to be had, but if he wanted to stay on Twitter, which he definitely did because he tried making his own, he could have made that happen. It may or may not have been a good idea, but
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Of course.
He's
Of
not
course.
that powerful.
But exactly. If Trump really wanted to, and like Twitter's mine now, or like
Right.
can't ban.
I'm still on Twitter, so
Yeah.
one could argue that I have more power in certain areas than Donald Trump does.
Yeah, but that's what it's all presidents don't have. That's what everyone always freaks out about. It's like you got to freak out about all the other positions, not the president. It's really the least important out of all the ones.
Right. Absolutely. And so that kind of leads into you mentioned earlier, you brought up what's more important, the messaging or the votes. It's obviously the messaging, because the votes will never be there, at least as far as I can see. If the system is or isn't rigged, which I mean, even if there isn't a shadow government, or there is a shadow government, or whatever you want to call it, they've proven just with the debates alone, they've moved the goalpost. They shift things to make sure that we will never get even close to getting the numbers that we need. So, and if there even was a possibility of getting those numbers, it would be from getting people to embrace the ideas of libertarianism. And I think more likely, the whole thing is going to collapse before we ever even break the 10% or anything like that. And if the whole thing collapses, what do we want? A bunch of people that are willing to vote? Or do we want people that are libertarians in a crumbled society rebuilding this thing the way we want it to? Like, it's so short term, it's so small picture viewing to say, oh, we have to put hundreds of thousands of dollars into this because we are living under the delusion that the libertarian candidate is going to be in the White House. No, talk to the people, change the world, and then we'll see how the elections go after that.
Change the people, the votes will follow.
Yep.
That's how it goes. Mr. Dan Smots, tell everybody where they can find you and your podcast, please.
You can find me and all the stuff at TSID Pod on Twitter, but you can find all the links at thesystemisdown.tv. You can watch the show, you can listen to it, and find all the evil commie platforms to follow me on.
Thank you, sir. And again, you guys check me out at Adam Nutter on all the stuff. It's pretty fucking easy to find me. Check out my other podcasts I do. Of course, Cult of Us, what I do with Neil Wood, my comedy podcast. It's a great, super fun time. Slapstick Sports I do with Jesse Pedraza and Garrett Monaco, two other comics. That's our sports podcast. We just shoot the shit. Check those out. And of course, this month, again, July 25th, I'll be up at Comics in Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. Sunday show coming out to that. And August 14th, pop in, Chalfont, PA. Tickets, droptent.com/events. Get your tickets. 2 shows, 7:30 and 9:30 show. They will sell out. I'm telling you. You're gonna be. Don't fucking DM me. Be like, I couldn't get tickets. I got 100 fucking DMs. Get your fucking tickets. To droptent.com/events. Go get them. Dan, thanks for coming on. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.
Thanks for listening. Find Adam on social media, Twitter and IG at Adam Nutter, or Facebook and TikTok at Adam Nutter Comedy. And for podcasts and merch, check out www.droptent.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.